Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for May the 8th, 2020, the final Smackdown before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view with the most unique Money in the Bank ladder matches of all time. You have to start on the ground floor of WWE headquarters and climb the corporate ladder. After you've done that, you grab the briefcase and you have known that the risk was worth the reward. Let's go ahead and get started with Money in the Bank. Let's talk about the opening segment, which was Otis and Mandy Rose backstage. Otis asked Mandy if she was ready for the match against Sonya Deville. Mandy said it's been a long time coming. Otis volunteered to help out, but Mandy said that she's got it. She wants Otis to focus on Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the Performance Center, we had Sonya Deville getting prepared. Dolph Ziggler asked if she was ready. And she was ready. She's never been more ready. Ziggler just had one request, that Sonya go easy on the face for him. He's still trying to get with Mandy Rose. She said she would do her best, but no promises. TJS with a $2 super chat, first one of the evening. Thank you, TJS. He says, Booker T losing to Triple H at WrestleMania was a mistake. Agree. Yes, I do agree, but that's off topic, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I think Booker T had some real momentum back then, but of course Triple H was in Triple H mode at the time where he was always dominating. So we had this match, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, which I'm a little surprised was not saved for the pay-per-view, which only has 6 matches. And by the way, no new matches added to this card to my knowledge. WWE, I guess, is just going to throw out 1 or 2 more matches last minute. But why not add 1 more match on SmackDown when you have more eyeballs watching? I just don't get it. Nick Glavin with a $2.79 super chat. Thank you, Nick. He says, will Sonya Deville break out from this story? I hope so. I hope so too. Her promos, like I said, were great the last couple of weeks, and she's really starting to come into her own. Match was fine, but again, this could have been a pay-per-view match. Sonya was doing a lot of trash talking. Mandy did make a comeback and was like, who's the bitch now, bitch? However, she went for a kick, and Sonya countered, rolled up Mandy, and scored the 1-2-3 victory. I'm guessing this will not be the last match between these two, but yeah, you would think that in the end of this, Sonya is going to get elevated. A lot of people feel she has some real star potential. Her promos were great, and I think she could definitely go somewhere. The legendary Mike B. Not just Mike B anymore, but now he's legendary. Like Team No DQ, everyone's got to have a nickname, and now Mike B has a nickname. The legendary one, with a $5 super chat, says, I had to change my name on here because I'm a moderator on another channel. That's what they call me. Anyways, I'm just here to say Aaron Rift is the GOAT. I appreciate that, and that truly makes you legendary, being a moderator of the group, because that means I trust you to do a good job. And Bobo Beware with a $5 super chat, thank you very much for that, says, do you think Sonya Deville can become as white hot as Becky did in 2018? She has become great. Hard to say, but with her athletic background and what we've seen from her promo-wise, I definitely think there's some real potential there for her to be the biggest female star since Becky's breakout. Absolutely, I could see her going far in WWE and maybe, at the very least, being the star of the SmackDown brand. And we had New Day teaming up with Lucha House Party against Miz, Morrison, and the Forgotten Sons. Match quickly broke down so everybody could do their dives. I thought the second half of the match was better than the first half. First half just felt like your typical SmackDown match, and then towards the end, they really turned it up, and it started to feel like a pay-per-view quality match. Jackson Riker, a.k.a. Gunner, got involved, took a cheap shot. Morrison took some crazy bumps in this match, including a reverse Hurricane Rana from Lince Dorado. You guys should check that one out if you missed it. Miz ended up hitting the skull-crushing finale to pin Lince. So Miz, I guess, getting his win back from a couple weeks ago. And after the match, Miz was hugging the Forgotten Sons. They were all celebrating, although the Sons did not look particularly thrilled with the Miz hugging them. They should have just jumped the Miz and Morrison. I think I would have liked them a little bit to see them show some aggression and beat the crap out of Miz and Morrison instead of just standing there. But it's fine. Match was pretty good overall. Like I said, last couple minutes were quite solid. Curtis Butler with a $2 super chat says, "The risk is worth the reward." Say that 5 times. Actually, don't, because you might drive yourself nuts. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Psycho says, "Jackson Riker is the new Mason Ryan, boring and bland." I just never saw much in Gunner. I remember watching him in Impact Wrestling, and nothing that he did stood out to me. I liked EC3. I liked what Mike Bennett was doing as the Miracle. But Jackson Riker, just as Gunner, wasn't doing anything to make me jump out of my seat. So when WWE signed him, I'm like, really? I just felt like other guys could have been pushed harder than Jackson Riker, EC3, case in point. I feel like Jackson Riker has already had a bigger run on the main roster than EC3. Poor EC3. I feel so bad for him. He really got the short end of the stick, as they say. And Nick Glavin with a $2.79 super chat donation says, "Is WWE dropping the ball with John Morrison?" I do not really agree with that comment. I think Morrison is right where he should be in WWE. I never expected him to come back and be a main event guy. I figured he would come back and be that upper mid card and work with some of the younger talent. I think Morrison's in a great spot. He's on TV every week, and he did not lose the tag team titles. Morrison's been booked pretty strongly since returning. I think he's doing fine. He doesn't need to be the top guy. I think Morrison's in a good position what he's doing right now. We had King Corbin interviewed backstage, and he talked about how he's thinking of all these different ways to torture his opponents at Money in the Bank, what he's going to do to them at the WWE headquarters. He mentioned Rey Mysterio, and again, another tease for Money in the Bank, saying maybe Rey can fly off the roof. Talked about becoming King Money in the Bank. Apparently, we're going to see something in regards to a person being tossed off the roof, because WWE has mentioned it several times, and Dave Meltzer brought it up. Looks like it's going to be a potential spoiler that somebody's being thrown off the roof, although I think a lot of us have been predicting it to happen anyways. I still want Big Show to do it. Recreate Halloween Havoc 95, Big Show. Tries to steal the Money in the Bank and ends up getting thrown off the roof of the building. Or AJ Styles being thrown off the roof of the building. and go with that gimmick where he dies every pay-per-view. We had Renee Young introduce the returning Jeff Hardy, who does not have no more words, even though I think Jeff Hardy said it was coming back. Maybe WWE is waiting until we get crowds again, which makes sense to me because I think the first time he uses that song, it'll be a special moment. You might as well do it with an audience. Renee asked Jeff about what he has left to prove. Sheamus was watching in the back as Jeff was talking about his comeback and hearing the voices of the fans, even though they're not there in the building. And he asked the fans watching at home to stick with him for one more good run. Jeff then got down to business, called out Sheamus. Sheamus did come out, but talked about how the people are tired of Jeff. They're tired of the suspensions and the no-shows and wasted second chances. Jeff responded by calling Sheamus a hater. Sheamus said he's not a hater. As a matter of fact, he used to respect Jeff. But Sheamus said that Jeff's next failure, is right around the corner, and Jeff is the only one who doesn't realize that. Sheamus then brought up how he's been attacking the weakest flames on SmackDown, and Jeff is that fire that he's going to put out next. We had a fight between the two of them. Sheamus got hit with the Twist of Fate and the Swanton Bomb. One would think this would be a match for the pay-per-view, but again, I don't believe WWE announced this for Sunday. Could very well end up being announced Sunday afternoon right before the pay-per-view. Would not shock me at all. Nick Glavin with a $2.79 super chat, thank you for that, says, do you think that this will be Jeff's last big run? Probably, and I'm really hoping Jeff can have a solid run without getting injured again. My concern is that he'll get hurt again in 3 months and will not really get to have a good final run with the company. Like, I'm hoping Jeff can stay healthy for a year and maybe close out his in-ring career at next year's WrestleMania. That would be a nice send-off for him, but yeah, he's gotten injured a lot and he's not getting any younger, so cross our fingers that Jeff Hardy could stay healthy, both physically and mentally, and can have one really good final run with the company and come out to no more words with the crowd. That would be awesome. We had Braun Strowman come out for a face-to-face with Bray Wyatt, and this segment I thought was quite pointless. Really did not advance the storyline at all. It was more of the same thing. Strowman said that Bray Wyatt was threatened by Strowman beforehand and is even more threatened now. Bray came out and said he's always cared about Strowman, but Strowman needs to come home. And Bray talked about taking the burden away from Strowman, the Universal Championship, which I could have sworn was the same storyline on Raw, with Seth Rollins saying he wants to remove the burden of Drew McIntyre being the champion. So yeah, that was kind of weird. But in the end, I guess the idea here is that Bray Wyatt wants Braun Strowman to join up with him again. Bray even offered the mask, the black sheep mask, and the puppets were asking Strowman to jump on the dark side. Strowman responded by saying he's keeping the title and Bray Wyatt is going to be left stuck playing with his puppets. As Strowman walked away, Bray was like, he's sorry, he tried, and that was that. I do not care about this match. I have little to no interest in it. I mean, it's going to be Mr. Rogers, Bray versus Strowman, and Strowman will probably win. After the match, lights will go out. Fiend shows up, puts the mandible claw on after the match is already over, and then they'll do that match at Extreme Rules. Why should I care about this one? We had Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak backstage recruiting Otis for the six-man tag main event match, which I will get to here in just a few minutes. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Tamina Snuka and Lacey Evans. Lacey got taken out of the match, and it was Tamina basically fighting off both Bayley and Sasha. Tamina went for her big splash, but Bayley got her knees up. Bayley hit the Bayley to belly, went up top, hit the flying elbow, but Tamina kicked out. And then Lacey managed to make a comeback, hit the woman's right to Sasha, and that's when Tamina hit the super kick and the Samoan drop to pin Bayley. Was this necessary? Tamina is already the number one contender. Why did Bayley need to lose yet another match? This is one of my pet peeves, when the champion loses a non-title match when it's not necessary. I know Tamina needs a lot for people to take her seriously, but Bayley has done a lot of jobs as champion. I'm just not a fan of it. If Bayley won like 10, 15 matches in a row and then got pinned by Tamina, I'd be okay with it. But Bayley seems to lose every other match that she's in. Mike says, Aaron, it's Drew Gulak. Yeah, whatever. I don't like his name either. Any name that I have trouble pronouncing, I don't like it. So I do not like Drew Gulak. Dumb name. We had Corey Graves. By the way, real quick before I move on here, not looking good for SummerSlam in Boston. And it seems like WWE has been building up Sasha Banks and Bayley for a one-on-one title match at SummerSlam. That just really sucks. That would have been awesome to see Sasha turn babyface and have the home field advantage and the hometown crowd cheering for her. That is just a huge letdown. But yeah, looks like unless something changes in the immediate future as far as a breakthrough when it comes to COVID-19, doesn't look like the SummerSlam event is going to be taking place in Boston. WGlass90 says they should do SummerSlam on an abandoned beach. I like that idea, or even have a small crowd out there at the beach. Like they could do Bash at the Beach like WCW, probably not with that many people, but maybe have a limited audience, maybe a few hundred people, social distancing, all that stuff, outdoors. So, you know, it's a little bit, and a little bit open air. And plus, people are already going out on the beaches anyway in Florida. So I would not mind that if they actually did SummerSlam on the beach. The hottest SummerSlam of all time. Too hot to take place inside an arena. There you go, WWE. Just gave you your tagline for SummerSlam. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, will WWE screw up the Bayley and Sasha storyline again? I hope not, but I could see WWE maybe changing plans with it if they cannot do Bayley versus Sasha in Boston. I mean, they may still go with it, but yeah, I feel like it's not going to be quite the same if Sasha's not challenging for the title in her hometown. And Mohammed says, what about the Hall of Fame? Good question. I mean, they might end up having to do Hall of Fame in Orlando. Who knows what's going to happen with that at this point. Anyways, Corey Graves did a tour of the WWE headquarters. Basically just narrated a video showing the different parts of the headquarters to hype up the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. This was fine. Dana Brooke and Carmella were interviewed, and this was one of those really weak scripted promos with the buzzwords. Dana Brooke mentioning the risk is worth the reward. Carmella talked about climbing the corporate ladder, winning Money in the Bank for a third time. I forgot she won it twice. I believe that first time was when James Ellsworth actually won it for her, and then they did the rematch. We had another video package from the mystery hacker, who I believe is not CM Punk, although the WWE on Fox Twitter account likes to make you think that. We had our main event match, which was Baron Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro up against Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and Otis. Otis ended up getting sent into the ring post by Shinsuke and Cesaro, and that's when King Corbin hit the deep six on Gulak, 1, 2, 3, and pinned him. You know you're a scrub when you lose to the deep six because everybody and their brother kicks out of it, except for Drew Gulak. We had a fight continue after the match. Everybody fought to the backstage area. Gulak even did a dive onto everybody off the barricade to get a little bit of momentum back from his loss. But then it was King Corbin left alone, and for some reason he decided he needed to risk his well-being by grabbing a ladder and climbing the ladder to grab a briefcase that doesn't even count for anything. Apparently, Daniel Bryan felt it was also important to grab this briefcase because it's all about the momentum of being the last person to hold that briefcase before the pay-per-view. I don't know. But Bryan fought with Corbin, and then Otis got into the mix. Corbin ended up taking out both guys, climbing the ladder, and grabbing the briefcase to win absolutely nothing except for momentum. All-important momentum for this Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would these guys all risk their well-being to symbolically hold up the briefcase? Dumb. I don't understand this at all. Lame ending to the show, in my opinion. Overall, I thought it was a pretty boring SmackDown, run-of-the-mill, not much excitement, not much to write home about, no real stories developed any further, no new matches added to the pay-per-view. Like, the 8-man tag match was pretty good, especially the last couple of minutes. So I recommend checking that out. Everything else on this show I thought was skippable. So if I had to do a letter grade, I'd probably go with a C- or a D+. Just was a below par show in my opinion. But what did you guys think in the chat room? Lewis gives it a C-. And I like Mike B's comment, Rambling Rabbit should win Money in the Bank. Hey, don't give Vince any ideas. Michael Wayne with a C. Nick Glavin with a C. W Glass 90 with a C-. Buddy Darius with an F. D Ross 2 with a C-. Tic Tat Tat with a C. Curtis Butler with a hard C+. And K Ballard 27 with a C-. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, how come Braun Strowman doesn't feel like a big deal in WWE? Well, because WWE really booked him like a jabroni the last couple of years. It all started with Brock Lesnar, No Mercy 2017, and it was all downhill from there. Nicholas, that unnecessary heel turn with Roman Reigns, and failing to beat Brock Lesnar on a second match that I'm not remembering, but I feel like he got another opportunity and he still failed. Pretty much every opportunity Braun got for the title, he failed until WrestleMania versus Goldberg. And that was a match that was literally thrown together last minute. And keep in mind, before that, he lost to Sami Zayn, who isn't even on television right now. So yeah, Strowman just got booked very poorly over the last couple years, so it's hard to care about the guy. It really is. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your viewership and support. I will be back Sunday night after Money in the Bank. NoDQ.com, your place to get pay-per-view coverage, match-by-match results. I will be posting all that. Stay tuned for the latest breaking news and rumors. And check out the predictions video. Check out the No DQ review. No DQ&A video coming back next week. If you missed the review, you missed the announcement. I'm bringing it back next week. I will be posting more details and how you can send in questions very soon. Thank you all again for watching. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Love you all, and see you next time.